Hi, Alan Stratton from Woodturns. I really enjoyed the recent Woodturners Worldwide online symposium. There's a lot of great presentations, and when I attend one of these things, I like to gain the ideas. And sometimes I'll do one of the projects as illustrated just to prove to myself that I can do it. But more importantly, I want to incorporate techniques and use techniques that I see. And I hope that you are doing the same as you see one of my videos. Yes, you can repeat the same project, but more importantly, can you deploy these techniques in some new and different way that will enhance the whole craft that we're pursuing here. In this case, in the symposium, we had a presentation on jam chucks and also using them in little birdhouses and such. In this case, I took a jam chuck and said, okay, I don't want to do, say, a birdhouse. I want to do a Christmas ornament because the Christmas Ornament Challenge is coming up. So this little raindrop ornament uses the jam chucks to be able to do it, to hollow the ornament out, and to actually do the whole thing while hollow or finish and even to the buffing stage. And then I will be gluing it together at the end. But for now, let's go ahead and turn this little raindrop ornament using some jam chucks. I have mounted the square block of poplar directly in the chuck without rounding and without a tenon. Since it is short and square, the jaws have a good hold on it, so I am not worried. I quickly round it off and cut a tenon. After swapping for smaller chuck jaws, I used that short tenon to mount the wood to turn the other end, then cut a matching tenon on this other end. After laying out the dimensions for my droplet by eye, no math, I part the drop into two pieces, leaving the large end in the chuck. Then drill a 1-inch shallow hole that will lighten the drop and mount it to a jam tenon. Then swap the bit for one slightly smaller to drill a little deeper. I did not want to hollow any with tools for the risk of affecting the jam tenon match, and another a little deeper, and clean up the joint just a little bit. Now for the smaller end, I do not want to risk a larger bit for the smaller end. I would rather not make the inside larger than the outside. Next, make a tenon on the small end to match the center hole in the large end. As usual, this is a cut, test, etc. until it fits. If too small, then just cut it off and try again. With the two pieces together, I can begin shaping the exterior. Fortunately, I can stop, pull the pieces apart, and check the inside size versus the shape that is in my mind. Technically, a raindrop falling through air is round or spherical. However, a stylized drop has a tapered top. Mine will be stylized. Then I sanded the exterior as much as possible up through the grids. Now for the jam tenons. I have a threaded wood faceplate that I have mounted and glued a tenon onto the base faceplate. The faceplate needed to be cross-grained and the jam tenon needs to be spindle-oriented. I will turn this one down to match the larger end's recess. With the jam tenon fitted, I can finish shaping the bottom end of my raindrop, then sand it. Now for the top of the raindrop. I again fitted the jam tenon to the smaller recess on the top. The tricky part here is the long pointed top. I very carefully tooled the end without live center support. I left the end a little flat so that I could drill the end for the hanger, then sand. Now I have mounted each part to its respective jam tenon and mounted the small end to the live center with an adapter. I expect to finish these two parts with each in visual range while I apply dye to each. I expect this will work better with the jam tenons instead of with the two portions together. If they were together, how would I hold them? Let alone, how would I hold them while I sand them more between dye applications? After the first coat of dye, I sanded both pieces and applied the same dye again. I am hoping that by sanding off most of the dye each time, I can get some variation in color and grain, despite this being a very small project. Since it is in two pieces, I do have some variation due to sanding that I am not totally happy with. For a final finish, I used multiple coats of rattle can lacquer. Finally, I buffed each piece still on their respective tenons. The tenons worked out to be convenient handles while buffing. And my raindrop ornament is completed. I do not know how I could have turned this ornament without the jam spindles. Now remember, the Christmas Ornament Challenge opens during November for your ornaments. Please go to www.ornamentchallenge.com to enter your ornament. Let us see your favorite ornaments and have fun this season. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe on my website, and tell your friends. I appreciate your comments and questions. Every week I make a new wood turning video and add it to my website. As usual, I appeal for you to wear your full face shield for safety anytime the lathe is running. I will see you next week with another wood turning video.